The warning klaxon screamed across the bridge of the galactic enforcement cruiser Nexus Prime as Captain Vex stared at the tactical display with mounting dread. The red dot approaching their sector moved with impossible speed, its energy signature, unlike anything in their databases. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission," Communications Officer Yill announced, her voice trembling. It's in Standard Galactic, but the accent is strange." "Put it through," Vex commanded, though every instinct told him to flee. The voice that emerged from the speakers was calm, almost conversational. "This is Captain Drake of the human vessel Retribution. You have 30 seconds to explain why your ships are blockading this system." Silence fell across the bridge. Humans, the mythical species that had vanished from known space 3 centuries ago after their homeworld was destroyed. Most believed them extinct. Those who didn't whispered stories that made hardened warriors. Check their locks twice before sleeping. "Captain," Tactical Officer Rin whispered, "our sensors show only one ship, but the energy readings are off the charts. It's smaller than our cruiser, but generating power levels that should require a dreadnought." Vex cleared his throat and activated the communication array. "Unknown human vessel, I am Captain Vex of the Galactic Enforcement. This system is under quarantine by order of the High Council. Any approach is forbidden." "Quarantine, the human," voice repeated, and something in that single word made Vex's scales crawl. "What exactly are you quarantining?" "That information is classified." A pause, then, "Captain Vex, let me explain something to you. 300 years ago, your people glassed our homeworld and scattered us to the void. We've spent those centuries learning, adapting, and growing stronger. Now we've come home to find you've turned our neighboring systems into prison camps." The tactical display suddenly erupted with new contacts. What had appeared as one ship moments before now showed dozens of smaller craft spreading out in perfect formation. The human vessel hadn't been alone. It had been carrying an entire fleet within itself. "Impossible," Rin breathed. "Our sensors should have detected." "Your sensors detect what we allow them to detect," the human captain interrupted, somehow having heard the comment. "Now, I'll ask once more. What are you quarantining in this system?" Vex looked around his bridge at the terrified faces of his crew. The Nexus Prime was a state-of-the-art warship, capable of reducing planets to rubble. Yet every instinct screamed that they were prey before a predator beyond their comprehension. "The system contains a research facility," Vex admitted. "We're studying specimens." "What kind of specimens?" The silence stretched until Vex realized he had no choice. "Prisoners of war from various conflicts. We're experimenting on them to develop new weapons." The response came not in words, but in action. The human fighters moved with precision that defied physics, their weapon systems painting targeting locks on every galactic enforcement vessel in the system. The main human ship hadn't moved, yet somehow weapon ports had opened along its hull like the eyes of some sleeping god awakening. "You have 10 minutes to evacuate your personnel from that facility and transfer all prisoners to our custody," Captain Drake announced. "Any attempt to harm the prisoners will result in immediate and overwhelming retaliation." "You're outnumbered, 50 to 1, Vex protested, though his voice lacked conviction. "Captain Vex, do you know what humans did during our 3 centuries in exile? We didn't just survive. We thrived. We turned asteroid belts into forge worlds. We learned to craft ships that could slip between dimensions. We developed weapons that could crack moons and shields that could turn stars into power sources." As if to demonstrate, the human ship's hull began to shimmer and phase, becoming translucent while somehow remaining solid. Energy readings spiked, beyond the Galactic Enforcement Sensor's ability to measure. "But more importantly," the human continued, "we learned patience. We've been watching the galaxy for decades, documenting every atrocity, every act of cruelty perpetrated by the so-called civilized species. This facility of yours represents everything we've come to despise about what you've built in our absence." Commander Tix, Vex's second in office, leaned close. "Captain, our weapons won't even scratch their hull. Our best estimates suggest their shields could absorb the combined firepower of our entire fleet." Vex closed his eyes. The stories were true. Humans hadn't died out. They had evolved into something beyond current galactic understanding. They had become the monsters that other monsters feared. All ships, stand down, he ordered. Begin immediate evacuation of Research Facility 7. Transfer all prisoners to human custody. A wise decision, Captain Drake acknowledged. You have 8 minutes remaining. As his crew scrambled to comply, Vex couldn't help but ask, "What happens now? Do you plan to conquer the galaxy?" The human's laugh was genuinely amused. "Conquer? Captain, we don't want your galaxy. We just want you to remember that humanity is watching now. Every act of cruelty, every injustice, every moment you choose oppression over compassion, we'll know about it." The rescue operation proceeded with terrifying efficiency. Human ships materialized from nowhere to collect the freed prisoners, while others escorted the galactic enforcement vessels away from the system. As the Nexus Prime limped away at maximum warp, Vex stared at the tactical display showing the human fleet maintaining perfect formation behind them. They weren't pursuing, they were escorting, ensuring safe passage while making their power unmistakably clear. The message was simple and absolute. Humanity had returned, and the galaxy would never be the same.